We're talking about the impacts of the right instructional materials this year in 2026. And this is for school owners, it's for educators, it's for aspiring teachers, so that we'll be fully guided when selecting instructional materials for our schools or for our classrooms or for the lesson or for whatever curriculum we are going to be engaging with. So I want to ask you something tonight, right? I think we'll just have to start regardless of those who haven't joined yet. So the two of you that are here, I believe once we do a good job, what's most important to me is that even if it's one person, that person goes back home tonight with something of value. So I want to ask you something, okay? Have you ever watched a child, right, just stare at a textbook or an exam question or a test script, and that child just has, this blank look, you know, on his or her face. You understand? And you can tell just by looking at that child that there is no clue. The child has no clue what is going on. Or let's not even go to the exam. Let's just look at the lesson, right? And then you drop a textbook. I've been in classrooms where teachers drop a textbook and they expect, yes, hello, and they expect the textbook to serve as instructional material. In fact, it is just like, how would I put it? It's just like a routine. Open your textbook and read from so page to so page. Or sometimes there's a particular school I was with, right? I was consulting for them and I stepped into the classroom and the teacher was outrightly copying note on the board from the textbook. How, please? Can you just make this make sense? How? How? Hmm? We educators, sometimes we don't know that when children are placed in our hands, it's an amana. It's a trust that we're going to account for. So when we just do things carelessly or because that's what everybody does and we are not putting any thought into doing the right thing, I just wonder how we're able to sleep, you know? So when some children who are quite creative and want things to happen just stay at the textbook, I don't blame them. It's not their fault. Their brain is working, but they just can't comprehend what you've just done. And those children, sometimes they might be termed as lazy, but a lot of times it's just not the right learning approach for them. They are just in that classroom existing. They are not learning, they're just existing. And that child can be failed by the wrong tool. When we are not creative enough to bring out the right instructional materials, we have failed that child. And it's not particularly something that we should pride ourselves with. I would like a space where every time we are going into the classroom, we are all so excited. I remember when I used to teach, right? When I'm writing my lesson plan, I used to, I used to be so excited. I'll be, the questions I used to ask myself is, how can I make my children have a fantastic time in class today? And with that question, I selected my instructional materials, my lesson plans. Then we used to write lesson plans physically into textbooks, into notebooks. So my lesson plan notebooks was usually very bulky because I'll make things, I'll draw things, I'll staple them. It was a full resource material by the end of the term, you know. So I was always very excited, and I see very few teachers being excited when writing their lesson plan. They just want to write and submit. So let's get right into it. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that sits in every classroom, something that is being ordered by schools every session or probably every term, and is really questioned. Well, should I say it's not that it's not questioned, but appropriately questioned. We just have a list. We have a list that we just by default order for, and then we submit it for use. We don't particularly include teachers in the conversation to ask them, what do you need? And what are the topics you're having? What instructional materials would you be needing? And we just prepare a list, a default list, and then share. So the truth of the matter is we do things like that when we don't even know the place of what instructional materials really are. I personally believe that every single topic should have an instructional material. Every single topic. I want to say that again. Every single subject should have instructional materials that would be used to reinforce learning. And if we don't have that, then we should question what we are doing. We should question what we are doing. There needs to be instructional materials to reinforce learning. Can you mute your mic, Nafisa? Nafisa, can you please mute your mic? There is interference in the discussion. So instructional materials are not just textbooks. Some of us usually textbooks. It's not just textbooks. It's not just pencils or what we just see readily in the classroom. It's constructive. It's something that we want to use to make the shift to happen in the classroom. And it's supposed to make learning to be fun. Just like props is to drama, our instructional materials is to what the lesson is bringing to the children. So if we have or if we are educators who are excited about our lesson, we will create instructional materials where there are no instructional materials. You understand what I'm saying? So every single tool a teacher uses to make learning happen is what we call instructional materials, like charts, manipulatives, digital tools, media, audio, visuals, pictures, games, flashcards, everything, even your classroom, your chairs, the pupils themselves of the students, the teacher could be an instructional material. The compound, the trees, the sand, stones, depending on the sky can be instructional materials, depending on the topic and how creative you are as an educator. So we are living in a time where, can you please mute your mic? Can you please mute your mic? Kindly mute your mic, please. Okay. So we live in times where children already have access to YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, and a variety of AI tools. Can you please mute your mic? Olashende, please mute your mic. It's interfering with the discussion.
Don't worry, I will close it. I will. Oh,
Wonderful. Okay, I've done that. So children have access, right, to YouTube and TikTok and all of these social media tools. Then AI has now brought its own creativity into the picture. So we have to battle with the children we have now, with the children we used to teach probably 10, 15 years ago, because they're a different breed entirely. We can't be using instructional materials that are not valuable enough to retain attention. So when they walk into the school, and they meet your interactive whiteboard, or if they meet your whiteboard or your blackboard in some cases, what do you expect? What do you expect to happen? Our instructional material should be such that it engages the children and you don't really need to do much because you've done your homework. We are not competing with the board any longer. That is past tense. We are competing with the most engaging content in the world. And if our instructional materials cannot capture attention, we have already lost. We've lost our children before they even step into the classroom. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Even adults, while adults are browsing the internet, if you go through, let's see, probably Instagram, for instance, if click on a video or a caption, if it's not interesting enough within the first 3 seconds, you just swipe. You swipe. Our attention span is just going so low that it's frightening. And then you can imagine how our children's are. I want you to listen to this. There's a research, right, that shows that only 10% of what children read, you understand, is what they retain. Only 10% of what they read is what they retain. It's a very old research. And then only 20% of what they hear is what they retain. Only 20% of what they hear is what they retain. So it's not about going to say, go and read. You understand? Not just go and read or you talking. That's not what makes learning to take place. But they now learn 50% of what they see and hear together, meaning that your materials should be something they can see and something they can hear, right? So when that happens, 50% of learning takes place. You understand me? So it means that when we are selecting instructional materials, we should be so careful that we incorporate something they can see with their eyes and something they can hear with their ears. Now, guess what? The most productive percentage is 90%. 90% of what they do and what they experience directly is what they retain in their memory. So the question is, which category now do you currently uh, place yourself when it comes to instructional materials? What percentage? What percentage? I want all of us, please unmute your mic and respond. I really am quite, I'm inquisitive. I want to know, are you in the 10% space where you just read to children or you ask them to read? Are you in the 20% space where you just talk to them or you discuss with them and you expect them to retain? Are you in the space where you make them see something and hear something where they retain like 50%, or you are in the space where they do everything they learn? They do, because once they do, they experience. I want somebody to please unmute his or her mic and then let me know. Just, I hope you know we are not here to try to form perfect. We're here to learn. So if you are still on the 10% mark, just say 10%. If you're on 20%, say 20%. If you're on 50, say 50. If you're 90, say 90. Let's take a poll. Go on, go on. Or maybe what I can do is I can drop a poll in the text, in the chat box after the session so that we can utilize the time we have. So this is what we are facing, okay? This is what we are facing. If currently what we do is just one face, then we know that we're not doing enough. If we just go into the class and talk, we are not doing anything. We are not doing anything, please. And if we are just talking, we're not doing anything. If it is see and hear, we are not doing much. So our curriculum should be interpreted in such a way that children would actually experience the topic. Let me give an example, okay? Let's see. If we have, I'm trying to pick a very difficult topic. I know if it's plants, they can easily plant a seed, they water it, they document it. You know, they are having that experience. And then when it grows, it germinates, you can talk. So they are seeing, they are hearing, they are experiencing, and they are doing. But I want to pick a topic that is difficult. Can somebody suggest a topic that is difficult? Let's see if we can suggest experiences, because some of us might say we don't understand, that there are certain topics that it's difficult to find instructional materials for. I want us to be able to be so creative that no matter the topic, we can create and craft instructional materials for them. Please, who can suggest one or two topics? Let's help ourselves out. Let's help ourselves. Come on, come on. I know this topic would help us. Educators, let's not be shy, please. Just think of a topic. I want this to be an interactive session. It's not a monologue. Yes? Is anybody going to speak? Or are we shy? We are educators. I expected this place to be booming with I expect this place to be booming with suggestions, with contributions. Everybody is quiet. This tells a lot about our school. How is our classroom? If this place is this quiet, we are educators. Come on, come on. I want to hear you. What's going on? Educators, please don't fall my hand. Hmm?
Assalamu alaikum.
Aha, finally. Oh boy. Ya salam. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Can you suggest the topic, please? Which state are you speaking from, please?
Yes, I'm speaking from I'm speaking from Ghana.
Okay, Ghana. That's beautiful. All right.
Online class.
Yes, greetings to everybody on the platform.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, actually, I will be glad to pick a topic, but I don't really know what the discussion is all about. I don't know the actual topic we are discussing about. That's why, if they can brief me about the topic or let me know what we are talking about. Then, if I have something or
All
any
right.
topic that I pick, then
Okay.
I'll do that, inshallah.
Are you an educator?
Yes, please.
This is fantastic. Kudos to you. Do you know what you've just done? You've just proven that you are an effective educator because number one, you didn't know about the topic. Ordinarily, people will keep quiet. But because you wanted to contribute, you unmuted your mic, you asked about the question because you were willing to see how you could contribute. This is what I expect from all of us that are educators. We shouldn't be shy, we shouldn't keep quiet, even though I know why some of us are quiet. So thank you so much for coming up and even asking, being bold enough to ask what is going on so that you can contribute. The topic is
Thank you.
instructional materials. What teachers can bring into the classroom to facilitate learning experiences for the children. Some schools call it teaching
Okay.
aids, but they're instructional materials. And we are trying to give examples.
Instructional. If I if I may hear you well, you said instructional materials, right?
Yes, teaching aids, instructional materials. Yes. So
Okay.
give
Thank you.
example of
Thank
a
you.
topic so that we can prefer or we can suggest instructional materials for that topic.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any subject,
Um.
any topic in any subject.
Okay. Uh. What about Bluetooth? Bluetooth. A portable Bluetooth.
Is that a subject? Is that a topic or an instructional material?
It's an instructional material.
The question is to suggest a topic so that we can, suggest instructional materials that can be used for that topic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, a topic.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for that.
That's okay.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam, Matilda.
Walaikum salam.
Please hold on. Our
Okay.
brother is still trying to suggest a topic.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. Brother Mohammed, we are waiting for you. Do you want to think and let somebody
Okay.
else try, or you are going to? Okay.
Yes. Yes. I'm still thinking about it. So.
Okay. While you're thinking, let somebody else try and suggest a topic. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming up. All right. Can you suggest a topic?
Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Okay.
Which state are you from? Or which country?
I'm calling. Okay, from Kwara State.
Okay, Kwara State. You're
From
welcome,
Kwara
please.
State.
Can you suggest any topic
Thank you.
that you think is difficult?
Okay, there is this topic personally that I think, okay, while I was teaching the topic, I find, I was looking for an instructional material. So I don't know, it's photosynthesis for grade 5.
Pardon?
Photosynthesis for grade 5.
Oh, photosynthesis. I believe that is
Ma'am.
quite straightforward. That's photosynthesis, that's plant. A plant is an
Yes,
instructional
yes,
material.
yes.
A plant itself
Okay.
is an instructional material.
Hmm.
Yes, if you bring in a plant,
Okay, ma'am.
yes. Or you take the children outside to see trees because you can actually show them, what the green is doing. You can actually show them and discuss it. They can talk about it, they can touch it, they can feel it, you know.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. All right,
What
should we
about blood circulation, please? There is another topic here. I'm having problems. What about blood circulation, like
blood
circulatory system?
circulatory system? Hello?
Is basic science.
Yes. You
Ma'am,
can
I
you,
said basic science.
yes, I can give you examples. I think the first one I would probably do is probably tie something on their hands and look for veins on their body. So if you look for veins on their body, everybody can try to, pick out a vein, either on their arm, their feet, and their forehead. So that is an instructional material, the veins. And then you can tell them that in those veins, blood, travels through our veins. And then you can also go to YouTube and show them a video because now we have a lot of AI videos that show how that can give you details of the circulatory system of the body, of the human body. So you can do that as well. So that can be an instructional material, a video, and then the veins on their body as well could be instructional materials for circulatory system. Did I get you?
Is that from
Oh, I
Yes,
get you.
yes, man.
Oh, I
That's
get
it
you.
for.
Okay, beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let me continue. Let's continue. So, I think with the examples that we've given, we can see that we can actually experience our lesson with our children, not showing them anything or just talking to them or hearing. They should do the thing. For instance, this last topic of photosynthesis and circulatory system, they are touching their body. You can even do a drama. You can actually perform a skit of probably 5 minutes of how veins, of how, let's see, maybe a child is going to the hospital to take a blood test, and the nurse wants to find a vein in the body so that they can insert the needle into the vein. Or you can ask children about the last time they took injections or those if they took a drip, anyone who has ever taken a drip in the hospital, you can talk about it. Let the child tell her story or tell his story about when he was in the hospital being admitted and had to take a drip. And he would narrate his experience of how the vein was gotten and how the needle was put into the vein and snapped onto his arm so that the water can drip into his system. You know, those experiences can trigger other children saying, okay, yes, I've seen my mom, or I saw my brother or my cousin. And then you can show them videos of a doctor trying to find a vein and then, inserting the needle there, and then you explain what is going on, that medicine goes into the bloodstream and the blood takes it round the body. It circulates it round the body. You can just be creative about it and let the children experience it. And they can even pretend to be a doctor. Somebody can pretend to be a doctor. Someone can pretend to be a patient. And then they can do that. Those kind of activities help children remember what the circulatory system is all about, because they will remember the story, they will remember the drama, they will remember the role playing, and it helps them to reinforce the learning. So I believe that if we are very creative, right, if we are creative as educators, learning will be so interesting for you and the children, honestly. So in 2026, we cannot really afford to teach a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old the same approach. I hope we agree with me. We cannot. It's our instructional material should be age appropriate, and we are doing this because we want it to make sense for each child, even within a class. In the same class, we can have different instructional materials for different children in the same class for the same topic, just because you want learning to take place. You know, this person is a fast learner. You know, this one is struggling. So what you're going to give this person is different, and what you're going to give that person is different because you know how they learn. You already understand your children and you've already differentiated their learning. And this can be done by giving them the appropriate instructional materials to use, because your goal is you want learning to take place. So you as educator, you really need to be sensitive. I believe that we have come to an era where we cannot be teaching for the sake of saying, I have taught. We really want to see learning taking place. We want the children to be able to give us constructive feedback or reassure us that they have learned, that something has happened in that class. And it all depends on how creative we can be. And it's no longer going to be about, okay, I have taught, or everybody keep quiet. I need to fulfill the lesson plan. I need to, carry out the lesson and finish up with it. If a child doesn't get it, you shouldn't be able to sleep that night. If a child doesn't get it, you shouldn't be able to sleep. Our lesson should be such that once it is over, you would feel so relieved. That relief is only something that, I mean, is a feeling that only Allah can put in your heart. If you do a good job, you will know you've done a good job because you can tell from the atmosphere in the classroom that true learning has taken place. And that's how we should be, you know there's no nobody hovering over us to ensure that learning takes place anymore. 2026 is a place where is a time where we are more concerned about children learning certain skill sets. They should learn, and learning should be evident. The fact that it has taken place, it has to be evident. My time was when if learning took place, it would be evident mainly in your scores. But right now, if you look outside, that's not what is going on. It's a complete different ball game altogether, you know. So the right instructional material has to be developmentally appropriate. That's the right one for the right child. And it matches where the child is, not just the grades they are in. So you can't say because a child is in primary six, these are the instructional materials for primary six, these are the ones for primary one. No, we can differentiate it. This child works better with a calculator. This child works better with fingers. This child works better with matchsticks. This child prefers to use paper to cut papers into pieces. This child prefers stones. And then you can make the search for instructional materials interesting when you involve the children. So teaching shouldn't be plastic. It shouldn't be mindless anymore. We should pour our heart into it because every single person on this call, Allah did not place children in your heart by mistake. It was intentional. There is a reason why you are in the classroom. There is a reason why you are in a school. And it's because you have something to offer. If you had nothing to offer, you're not going to be in the classroom. You will not. You'll probably be on a rig, or probably be in a bank, or probably be working in Shell, or as an accountant. But you're in a school. You have something of value to offer. So because we are in that position, I believe that we should tell Allah that yes, I know you have chosen me for this, and I'm going to ensure that I meet up and surpass expectations. So let's not just see education or teaching as something that is just mindless, or I just found myself here, or I'm just a school leader, I'm just a school owner. I tried. No, 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 no. You have something to offer. So squeeze up all the juice from that opportunity that God has placed in your hands, and make sure that you give your everything into the teachers, into the children, and into yourself first. Into yourself first, because you can't pour water from an empty cup. Okay? So a child in early years needs materials that they can touch. So when I talk about developmentally appropriate, probably another topic when we are having our discussions would be developmentally appropriate practices. So for this particular topic, I will just use the classes and then we'll limit it to instructional materials. So children in early years, whatever instructional materials we're going to be using must be something they can touch, because that is where learning takes place. They touch it, they feel it, their brain registers it, and they learn. And then something that moves around, something they can manipulate, something that can fall down and then make some noise. They are very sensitive to things like this. They can ask questions, and they keep, some of them just like to hit them on the table. They hear the noise, they hit harder, the noise is louder, they keep hitting harder. All that is learning. To us it might be noise. Stop making noise, collect that bat from his hand, or collect that. No, that child is actually learning. When it's too loud, nobody will tell the child. He or she will drop it. But it's not loud enough, so they keep going bam, 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 and hit. Only if you allow children to learn the way they can. We have very intelligent children, but our practices shut them up too early, and we don't know that we are killing a part of them that can actually develop them. So a child in upper primary needs materials that challenge their thinking and can spark questions. A secondary student needs materials that can connect their learning to real life. So you can see how the learning materials evolve as they grow older. When it's too simple, you make learning very boring. When it's too difficult, they lose interest. So it has to be developmentally appropriate. And it only takes a teacher who is sensitive to know this. If you go into your classroom and you're mindless, you will just want to teach and leave the classroom. But if you listen to your children, you will know the right instructional materials for them. No, this is too difficult for this one. Let's use this. I'll use this. And then going into the classroom for a new week you've planned is like, I don't know how I'm going to say it. What's the most what's the most exciting thing that you can think about? It's like going for that exciting event because you're going into the classroom. Because it is fun. Honestly, it is real fun if we know why we have children. We can make our classrooms a palace for us and a fun space for us, not a job. Honestly, not a job. It can be a fun place for us. So I wish that more educators would see their jobs as a fun, exciting place that we want to, carry out adventures and see the results with younger children and make the best time, out of this experience. Not just meeting up with the curriculum. If not, we'll have children who are very plastic. There wouldn't be authenticity. They wouldn't sincerely want to learn because the teacher doesn't sincerely want to teach them. You understand what I'm saying? So when the materials match the children, you see, a lot of magic happens. When you do the right thing, a lot of magic happens, and the teacher stops struggling to teach children or to get their attention because you have done your homework. The child will be the one pulling the lesson forward themselves. And I've seen this happen. When you have the right instructional materials, children begin to pick their topics, they begin to pick their projects. I have seen this happen because they own their lesson, they've taken agency. You know, it's no longer what the teacher is saying, but they choose their topics, they choose the projects, they carry out the activities, and the teacher just goes, okay, where do you want me to help? You know, so that's how it should be. So we always talk about impact on students, and what the kind of instructional materials that we choose. Sometimes they may be effective, and sometimes they might just not even have a place in the class. And sometimes you just go into the classroom without instructional materials. But I want us to acknowledge something this night, that the right instructional materials also transform the teacher, because there is nothing as sweet as going through your lesson and you just see the autopilot going on. The kind of confidence that you feel when you are doing the right thing, man, it's only Allah that can put it in your heart. When a teacher has the right tools and the teacher is interested in the right classroom with the right children, their confidence goes up. Their lesson delivery becomes sharper. Their classroom management improves because engaged children do not have time to misbehave. You know, there are times I'm with certain teachers in some schools and they tell me that the children, they make noise too much. And I just look at the teachers. You can't blame children in my presence. You cannot blame children in my presence. No teacher has ever won that argument. You are the adult in that class. The children sponge off information from you. You are in control. You dictate the emotional substance in the room. So if they're making noise, guess what? You are boring. Boring. You are boring. Plain fact. So when you come and you complain about teachers or children making noise, you're just telling me that I'm hopeless in my classroom. So I hope we can go back with this and then we construct our classrooms in such a way that it is fun, it is fantastic, right? We are going to be planning a summit very soon for educators in the North, and I hope everyone is going to be there. It's going to be a blast, inshallah. And we're going to be talking about events that touch the heart. Events that touch the heart. So I digress. I digress. So the
Assalamu
one,
alaikum.
oh, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Brother Mohammed, yes. You want to say something?
Yes, it's just a question that I want to ask.
Please go ahead.
Okay, about the object and sometimes. Okay, what if some of the objects that we use, the facilitator uses to teach, are sharp objects? Should we take it immediately after the lessons, or we should let them, or we should allow the student or the learners continue with those objects? If my question is clear, I that's what I want to ask.
Okay, I believe your concern is the fact that the objects are sharp, right? That's your concern.
Yes, please.
When we have instructional materials for children in any lesson, the goal is for them to see it, to touch it, to use it. I believe that once
Okay.
once there is, adequate supervision, everybody is fine. Once the lesson is over,
Okay.
you pack up the materials and keep them in a safe place. Because I believe that once you're using the materials, it is to reinforce learning, right? So
Yes.
once that is done, you pack up the materials and keep them in a a safe place, so that another lesson can commence. Did I answer your
Okay.
question? Mm-hmm. Yes,
Thank you so much.
very good.
Thank
Alhamdulillah.
you.
So the wrong materials don't fail children. If you have the wrong materials, they don't fail children. They actually exhaust.
Okay.
They exhaust you, the teacher, if you don't use the appropriate material. They make teaching
Okay.
feel like a battle every single day. But if you have the right materials,
Okay.
we enjoy the experience. Once it's over, we have the children pack everything up, we keep it in a safe place, and then we move on. I think the goal is for us to calm down and enjoy the lesson. This life is about enjoying the experience. The earlier we began to realize this, that we are to enjoy experiences, I believe our lives will be more productive and we'll enjoy our experiences in the classroom with children. So what do we do? Here are three things I want us, to do, or should I say, to take away tonight before we open the floor for, a discussion. So
Okay.
the first thing is, I would like us to, I would like us to sincerely go back and audit our materials in school. Let us audit our materials. What do we use as instructional materials for our children in class? Okay, don't mind me laughing. I love to laugh. Then we walk into our classrooms this week and honestly, and then find out if your materials are truly engaging, if they are current, if they are developmentally appropriate, and if they answer, I mean, if they are relevant to you, to your classes, to your lessons, if they are relevant. Because I've been to some classes where you have instructional materials gathering dust. In fact, there's dust compilation competition going on there. So we find out if it is really appropriate. And if your answer, you understand, if you find out that you don't have the appropriate materials, so you know that is your starting point. That is your starting point. You know there's something that needs to be done. Then the second thing is to involve other educators. You know, maybe as school leaders, let us involve our educators, our facilitators, our learning facilitators, who are the teachers, when selecting materials. The person in the classroom every day knows exactly what works and what doesn't work. Okay? Their voice must be part of the conversation when selecting instructional materials. Then the third thing, there's somebody, hold on please, let me mute this person. And the third thing is I want us to stop equating expensive with effective. Some of us think of how expensive it is alone. Some of the most powerful instructional materials cost very little, or they're probably there in our living rooms or in our houses or in our kitchens that we can just bring to the school, use it, and then return it. A well designed activity card can outperform a 50K textbook or instructional material if it is the right fit for the child. You understand? So I guess the whole idea is for us to be more sensitive and intentional when selecting instructional materials. So I want to close tonight. Okay, we have spent about 40 minutes. I want to close tonight with this thought. I want us to take this home with us. Every child,
Okay.
right? Every single child that walks into your school or into your classroom comes with potential. And I don't want us to joke with it. They all come with potential. And our job as educators is not to fill them with information. Please, that era has gone. That era has gone. Our job is to create the conditions for that potential to come alive. That is our job. Let us create a safe space, an engaging environment, a clean environment, a warm space where children feel comfortable, and then a place where they feel comfortable to make mistakes. Just the right conditions for them to ask questions, to love learning, to want to come to school. And you'll be shocked at how they will blossom. The right instructional material is not luxury. It is not nice to have. It is the bridge between the teacher's effort and the child's breakthrough. So this year, if you have been doing things differently from what I'm saying, now is a sign that Allah is telling you to wake up. Go into your class with more intentionality, with more what's the word? With more okay, I think I said intention. So be more intentional about it. Take hold with more authority. Take hold of your intentions. Go into the classroom. Prepare proper instructional materials that are not outdated because they wouldn't serve the children. The children deserve materials that can see them and that can match them and can challenge them to become who they were created to be. You know, sometimes we might be the ones limiting these children's growth, and we don't know. Can be because we are lazy, but we need to be able to do more for these children. So, with this, I open the floor for contributions, communications, and all of that. Before I finish, I want to mention that the mentorship program for June has already started. If you are interested in signing up for July, you can send me a DM and then we'll begin to sign you up for July, but you have missed June already. So the floor is open. You can unmute your mic. Let's have one or two questions and then we can rest. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much.
Alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
God bless you and make you great.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
I've really enjoyed the class, and I have so that it has broadened my this time listening to or participating in such a lesson or lecture, if I may say. So I'm really happy. Thanks, Jazakillah khairan wa
Welcome.
barakallah fiqh.
Ameen. Thank you
That
so much.
is the
I
that is the
appreciate it.
only thing I want to say. I'm so happy. I'm so glad to.
Thank you so much. And I'm also
Thank you.
glad to be doing this for the Ummah. I'm pleased also to do this for the Ummah. For me, it's an honor.
May Allah guide you for us.
Ameen. Ameen.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any other
Thank
people,
you very much.
any other person in the house to contribute, please? Come on, my people, my brothers and sisters. Don't leave me under the rain alone.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum
alaikum.
warahmatullahi.
Masha Allah. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Yes, please. Where are you talking from?
Jazakumullah khairan.
Where are you speaking from, please?
I'm talking from Ibadan, Al
Oh,
Kalam School.
beautiful, beautiful. All right. Do you have something? Do
So
you have a question or something?
yes, I actually have a contribution to what you have said.
Beautiful.
So I'll firstly say Jazakumullah khairan.
Ayaki.
I've actually enjoyed every bit of your lecture that I always look forward to every Monday evening. So
Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah continue to enrich you with abundant wisdom and understanding. Jazakumullah khairan.
Ayaki. Thank you
So
so much.
I just want to prove your point that says a boarding class, for us to have a boarding class, that means the teacher in charge is actually not maybe using the right materials also.
Mm,
So in my class now, my my learners are they are actually very very noisy. They are, no, I don't want to use the word stubborn,
okay.
but once we start learning,
Mm,
once we start a lesson and I have all my tools available, then
mm-hmm.
you will just find them to be cooperating.
Beautiful.
That you also be imagining that are these the stubborn learners also, but once it's time for learning, you will just find them cooperating and engaging.
That's
So
nice.
I just want to buttress that your point.
Okay.
It's exactly okay, Mama.
Ayaki. So I'm happy you didn't want to say stubborn, but you still ended up saying stubborn. I believe that's just one of the character traits of children. They're very active. They wouldn't particularly listen to instructions, at will. You'd have to distract them with something more interesting. But I'm glad that you said once learning begins, they tend to cooperate, which means that's a quality of a good teacher. It means you're able to take your children to the next level when it comes to learning. All right then.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Katsina.
Okay, Masha Allah. That's nice.
What I want to inquire about, or I want to ask about these instructional materials.
Now,
For example, those public schools that are too congested and they don't have availability of those instructional materials.
yes.
You find a class having more than 50 students,
Mm-hmm.
and even two teachers cannot control that class.
Yes.
So how are we going to help this kind of class?
Mm, I understand you. Sometimes the population can be very can serve as should I say a distraction, and you wouldn't be able to give in the best that you want. So rather than having learning take place, it actually inhibits learning. So the topic, right? And let me even before I talk about the topic, I want to say that the creativity of the teacher is what can bring success to that class. If the teacher is creative, there is no class, no location that would stop learning from taking place. So let's take your example, for instance. You have a class of 50 children and you have two educators. For me, that is enough. And I'm saying this confidently, probably because of the kind of secondary school I attended. We were teenagers running hundreds, managing hundreds of children at once. So if you have 50 children, there are two adults, there's a way you can handle them in such a way that you get their attention. Once they see that you're not looking helpless, they see you are disciplined, you would be able to use age appropriate tools to get their attention. You let them face consequences for their action. They will listen to you if you follow them, according to their age, if you work with them in an age appropriate manner. With regards to instructional materials, let's see, let me use plants again. If you're going to be teaching them about plants, everybody should plant. At least they can find one or two bean seeds in their houses. And if they can't, bring bean seeds from your own house. A handful will do it, and everybody should plant in milk tins. That is one. So you have it all over the classroom and then they water it. Let me look for another topic. Regardless, you don't have to have instructional materials that are bought from a shop. They can actually be improvised. You can improvise instructional materials. If you are going to be teaching, let's say, fraction in mathematics, you can use, some schools use Lego blocks. I always love to use Lego blocks. You can use paper. Just cut paper into pieces and then give it to everyone. So one sheet of paper is one, right? If you cut it into two, it becomes 1/2. It's half. If you cut it into four, it's 1/4 per piece. So you're using paper, and that's an instructional material, and you didn't have to buy anything, you know? Let's see. You can also use stones as instructional materials. You can use sand. If you have, if you are doing cleanliness and toothbrush, tell them to bring their toothbrushes from the house, and everybody brushes their mouth in the school. That's an instructional material. So you don't really need to spend much. You just need to be somebody who understands why Allah has placed you in that classroom, and you want learning to take place. Honestly, learning will take place. And if you don't have the materials, ask your colleagues. I need a big pot. Who has a big pot? Please bring for me tomorrow. I'm doing something with my children. You understand? So if you are creative, honestly, there is no barrier, regardless of whether it's a private school that is well to do, or a struggling private school, or a public school. Learning can still take place in the classroom. And mind you, Allah placed you in the classroom for a reason. Allah placed you in a public school for a reason, in a private school for a reason, in a school where you have children who are well to do, in a school where paying school fees is a problem. Wherever you find yourself, Allah knows you have something to offer. That is why you are there. There is no mistake. I don't believe things happen by luck, and I don't believe they are coincidences. Every single thing that happens is Allah's plan, and it happens at the right time. So let us take advantage and do the right thing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is this still Brother Muhammad?
Yes, I'm back again.
All right.
Before I was not having a question, but my brothers and sisters, they gave me the power. They've opened the gate for me.
Okay.
My question is example, we are doing, let's say, plant or shifting cultivation. Okay, let me come to my subject, Arabiya, and we are doing huruf, or we are teaching, our topic is huruf,
No.
huruf lijaiya, and we have treated that topic for getting to 3 weeks, and some 2 or 3 learners or students are still not picking up. Is there anything that, as the teacher or the facilitator, is there anything that you do, let's take it, or in the form of punishment or something like that?
To have the child learn the hurufu hijahia,
No.
the issue of punishment is not an option,
Okay.
because when a child doesn't understand, it is feedback for you that you are not doing
Okay.
something right.
Yes.
So if a child, wanting to punish a child who doesn't understand is like a doctor accusing you for not getting well when he gives you medicine. So if a doctor gives you
No.
medicine for probably an ailment and it doesn't heal, he doesn't blame you. He checks his prescription again and says, okay, let me try another medicine. And he gives you. He doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel bad that you didn't get well. He checks his own prescription, his diagnosis, and then re-administers something else. So the same thing in a classroom. If a child doesn't understand, there is something wrong with the way you are teaching, or you haven't understood how the child learns. So you change
Okay.
your style of teaching, or if the child is going to be drawing you back, you can have a breakout session. Let the child stay with another teacher, or you can have some time for the child alone to give that child the time. Some children are just scared to ask questions, some are just slower than others, some haven't matured enough. But because you're an educator who is skilled, who has a technical eye to understand these things, you will know exactly where the child needs help and you administer that help to the child. So there is no need for punishment. It's not even punishment is not even an option. We'll just change our
Okay.
methods and the children will get the best out of them. So I think
Thank you
we
so
already
much. Thank you
Alhamdulillah.
so much.
Alhamdulillah.
May Allah grant you Jannah. Nobody
Amen.
has ever given me this
Amen.
kind of usloop. Nobody has ever given me this kind of usloop. I'm so grateful.
Oh, thank you. I'm
I'm so
happy it made
grateful.
a difference. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good evening.
Good evening. Where are you calling
Um,
from?
Abuja. I'm Abdul Mumin calling from Abuja.
Okay. You're welcome. Bismillah.
Thank you. Just to buttress your point, let's say you are teaching a particular subject, and this is the era of AI.
Yes.
You can just quickly prompt AI that I am teaching this so particular topic, and
Yes.
it should give you the rightful instructional material to teach. Then you mention the category of the learner, that is the age category of the learner,
Mm,
or mention. So I believe it will give the right answer when you prompt it well.
beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. That's a very valuable contribution. So AI has been so helpful. And if we don't make use of it, well, that would be to our own detriment. So that's a very
Yes.
good one. Probably one of the
So
topics we are going to treat one day is going to be AI, because there's who is that?
oh,
Can you mute your mic? Can you mute your mic? So we'll probably we'll pick AI. AI will be one of the topics. And on a serious note, I have a lot to share on AI. And I'm looking forward to when we are going to be treating that topic. But in the meantime, I believe that I think we spent almost 1 hour. We spent almost 1 hour. Do we have one more person or we close for tonight?
Yes, please.
Two,
Assalamu alaikum.
So,
three, four, five. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. 1, 2, 3.
Good evening. I'm
good
calling
evening.
from.
I'm back. I just want to
Oh,
ask if you can suggest some AI tools or some AI that we can use that are more beneficial
Your background
than.
is which? Okay, which is. Oh, is this so?
Yes.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It's so nice to have you. So,
Thank you very
all
much.
right. You shouldn't be asking me about suggesting AI tools now. I even gave you one a few weeks ago, right?
Yes, and I'm enjoying it. That's why now I'm looking for
More.
more.
No, you know what we're going to do? Let us wait till when we are talking about AI so that I will bombard everybody here with all the information of AI. Honestly. Let's keep it. Let's keep it.
All right. Thank you.
Everybody has basic AI tools that they use now, but let's just wait. Maybe we should have it in 2 weeks' time. I think next week there's one topic we have to treat. Then maybe the week after that we can do AI tools so that we will be able to be fully equipped. You'll be so happy. Inshallah. So let's
Insha-
hold it. Let's hold it. I don't want to spill the beans yet.
All right, inshallah.
All right then. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so
Amin wa
much.
iyyakum.
All right.
assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. Last question, last contribution
Yes,
from him.
actually, a contribution in respect to the Huruf question.
Okay.
I just want to suggest that it's important the proper diagnosis is made. When you say 2 or 3 students are not getting it, what exactly are they not getting? Is it identification? Is it writing? Is it pronunciation?
Okay.
So that would help define exactly what steps to take. Inshallah, that was that.
Okay. So did you get that, Mr.
Barakallah.
Mohammed?
Yes, I had the question.
Yes.
Some of them is all they don't even understand it. They can't read. They don't know the names of the horos. They don't know that they can't differentiate between them. They can't
Yes,
write. Yes,
Okay.
this is some
sorry,
of the
sir.
challenge. These
Sorry,
are
sir.
some of
My
the
point is,
challenges we are facing.
yes, my point is it's important we take them in bits.
Aha.
Take one thing at a time. Do not bombard the child with identification, pronunciation, and all of that at the same time. It might be
Mhm.
asking too much.
Mhm.
So maybe if we break down like that in chunks, little chunks, it might help
Thank you.
you achieve, inshallah.
Yes.
Barakallahu
Thank you.
fikum.
And there's no
Well,
rush
yeah.
as well. There's no rush as well. So if we took our time, we would see the results. But some of us like to just rush over. And when we rush, we'll not get the results that we want. So Jazakallah khair for your contribution. I've
Yeah.
not heard from you for over 20 years, and you come up here to contribute.
Barakallahu fiik. I think
Over
it's
That's
20
good.
years.
Malama, is it me or who?
No, 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 not you, not you. The person that tried to answer your question, that was asking you questions.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I think it's 23 years or 24 years. I've not heard from him, and I hear his voice now. Mashallah, nice to hear from you.
Yeah, inshallah.
Now,
Inshallah.
barakallahu fikum. You're doing very, very well. I'm quite impressed.
Mhm.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. All right, so we have come to the end of this. I'll definitely upload it on YouTube so that anybody that misses it can watch it all over again and then benefit. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. So we'll see next week, Monday, same time, and then we'll be able to see how we can help our
Inshallah.
children again. So, Assalamu alaikum wa
Inshallah.
rahmatullahi wa
Wa
barakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Naam.